What's good, my fellow deadheads? Your overlord has returned. Today we are back to finish up our installments of how to instantly max this character. Today you can see that we're going to be talking about Sukuna. Sukuna is going to be the strongest DPS in the game whenever he comes out, mainly because he has a lot of DOT laceration damage. There are a lot of different forms of DOT in the game. You have Jogo with burn DOT, you have Junpei with poison DOT, now we have Sukuna with laceration DOT, the strongest form of DOT. And honestly, I think that the DOT team is probably going to be pretty disgusting, considering that all of the DOT forms are based off of Jujutsu stats, and you have people like Kaito, right, that can constantly give you more curse energy to keep spamming your skills, and his ultimate is predicated around giving you a big boost to Jujutsu damage. So honestly, I'm kind of interested to see how that team would function. Something that we would have to test out whenever all of these characters are officially on the global version. But if you guys have been enjoying these videos where I go in and break down exactly what you need whenever these characters are coming out so that you can get them maxed out instantly, you can go down below, you can smack the like button, you can also subscribe and hit the notification bell, and you can also comment down below and let me know what you think. And again, comment and let me know which one of these characters are like, hands down, you have to get them. There is no questions asked, no discussion about any other thing happening, because these characters are going to be popping into your account. Let me know. But we're going to go ahead and switch over to the game with page per usual and just talk about some of the cursed objects that the character needs. Alright guys, so this time I have preemptively scrolled down to exactly where we need to be. So one of the things that I had noticed is that Gojo and Sukuna, they both require a lot of bells. That's why I've been farming bells so much, because this is a thing for both Gojo and Sukuna. Yuji, I believe, needed plates, and what I remember saying specifically plates and pots for Yuji, because the alliteration, that's what made me think of it. And then Gojo is bells and decor or pots, right? So literally Gojo, Yuji, and Sukuna all need the exact same items. That's the real reason why I'm telling you guys, you want to go ahead and start farming these things up as early as you physically possibly can, because if you want to get all these characters maxed out immediately, then you're going to need a very big influx of all these materials. Sukuna needs both of these, Gojo needs bells, decors, and then Yuji needs plates, decors. So like quite literally everything overlaps amongst all of these characters. So it's a good thing I did all these videos in the same day. But guys, like I said, our quick rule of thumb is going to be having at least 500 each of the golden things, whether it's tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3, and you can farm a lot less if you like to, because you can see here the numbers don't even say up to 400. But remember that this is all to get you up to grade 10 on the character, but you know that as soon as these characters drop, we're going to be getting grade 14 and 15, or right before the characters drop, we're going to be getting grade 14 and 15. So you're going to want to farm the purple ones that aren't even showing up on the list here. You're going to want to farm the purple ones up to 560, whether it's tier 1, 2, or 3, and the green ones, just to be safe, you're going to want to go ahead and farm those up to 560 as well, because I literally just used materials to push Green Megumi's grade all the way up to grade 13, because I was like, I still have enough time to farm up the bells back up again for Gojo. But also I'm letting you know this so you can kind of steer clear of working on any characters that require the same material unless you have a really crazy influx of those materials. But again, 560 each of the green, of the purple, 500 each of the gold, and so on and so on. As you get lower, the less you need. But guys, let's talk about the experience that you need to get the character all the way maxed out. I guess just saying the experience was a little misleading. For the JP, you need around 3.2 million to get all the skills maxed out. You need 16 chaotic Jujutsu crystals to get all of the skills maxed out as well. You need about, I would up it to like 22 million experience to get a character from level 100 or level 1 all the way up to level 140. I kept saying 150, but that's only if you have a phantom seal for the character. If they don't have a phantom seal, then 140 is going to be the max level, unfortunately, instead of 150. So probably 22 mil experience is enough to do that. And also, I did go in and do some research on how much a recollection bit needs to level up fully. To get from level 1 to level 80 on a recollection bit, if you get lucky enough and the recollection bit is 5-star, all it's going to take you is 440k recollection bit training bits, sources, energy, and then it's going to take you like 200k JP. So luckily not too much JP, but a lot of recollection bit recollection bit experience, so go ahead and start farming that now, because that one doesn't drop as at such a crazy rate as the actual experience does or the actual JP does. It always feels like you get a much lower amount of that item whenever you farm for it, but that is enough for everything that you need to get. See guys, these videos get faster as we do them, right? The first two were like 20 something minutes, but this one's, I can already tell, we're locking in for a very quick video here. Don't want to hold up too much of your time today, but let's go back over to the wiki and look at some of his skills, and I'm gonna talk about priority order and how to how to level them up. And I'm not gonna do what I did last time where I talked about them in order of priority of leveling them up. That kind of confused me a little bit because I'm so used to going down just looking at every single skill. So I'm gonna go through all the skills in order, and then we're gonna come back and we're just gonna talk about which ones you should be focusing on. All right, guys, we got our GOAT Ryumin Sukuna here. Cannot be assigned with Yuji on the same team. That is so funny that that's his characteristic. Cannot be on the same team as Yuji. Same soul, it makes sense. We're gonna read the passive skill first, actually, just to get an idea of how everything else is supposed to be communicating. All right, reverse curse technique. At the start of each turn, yes, at the start of the turn, recovers own HP based on the frequency of hits received. If a skill can hit multiple times, it still counts as one hit received. If no hit received, recovers own HP by 6,500 with a 20% chance. If one hit was received, recover 3,000 HP for certain, and then has a 50% chance to recover 6,500 HP. If hit by 2 or more attacks, receive 3,000 HP damage. If receiving 2 or more hits of 3,000 HP damage. Oh, so if he gets hit with 3,000 damage, it increases the chance of him healing by 6,500, basically. So if not hit at all, there's a 20% chance to heal by 6,500. If hit once by one instance of 3,000 damage, then you can have a 50% chance to heal 6,500. And if hit 2 times by 2 different instances of 3,000 damage, then you recover your HP by 65% with an 6,500 with an 85% chance. So pretty cool. Just like the more he gets hit, the more that they give him healing chances, kind of just give him more survivability. Always good to have. And then King of Curses. At the start of battle, grants poison, darkness, soul, stun, confusion, immunity to self. Grants immunity to instant death effects caused by soul damage to self. Grants 30% flame resistance to self. When critical hit is performed, increases own damage dealt by 30% for 2 turns, and recovers own curse energy by 20, which is crazy. Just getting 20 curse energy every time you crit. Disgusting, because if we remember, Domain Expansion Gojo's page gives everybody a 10% boosted crit rate at the start of the battle. Not the turn, I don't think, but at the start of battle. Actually, this says at the start of battle, not at the start of turn. That's why I said each earlier. I was talking about this. No, this one is at the start of turn. Okay, cool. That's excellent. If receiving a hit of 3,000 HP as damage, there's a 50% chance to increase his taijutsu and jujutsu by 20% for 2 turns. And if a skill can hit multiple times, it still counts as 1 hit. So basically what that means is, if you get hit with a skill that has like multiple hits in it, all of those hits still are considered as 1 hit. So you can't get really high effects propped off of just one attack that has multiple hits in the animation. Basically is what that's trying to say. Now let's go back to his skills. This skill, his basic skill, deals 214.2% range jutsu damage to a selected enemy, or to the selected enemy. Fills on ultimate gauge by 100, which is insane. Then inflicts 1 stack of 20% continuous damage Jujutsu Laceration for 3 turns. And then each stack of Laceration increases an additional damage of Laceration by 20%. And then if skill restriction status is active, skill cannot be used. Then deals, on his skill 2, deals 350.4% melee taijutsu damage to the selected enemy, 3 hits, medium chance to perform the critical hit, and then increases on critical hit rate by 45.1%. So we're going to be getting those crits in, obviously, from a big boost in crit rate, and getting 20 cursed energy, or getting the damage dealt increased by 30%, I believe. Yes. Then also increases on critical hit damage by 75.2%. So like the crits are just going to be insane on this man. If skill restriction status is active, changes skill effect. Curse energy costs 0. So that's the same. This effect costs 0 curse energy. So I like to say that Sukuna is kind of broken up in a way where he has 2 basic skills and 2 ultimates, and I'll explain that when we get to the 3rd skill in a little bit. But if the skill restriction status is active, this effect changes to increases own damage dealt by 50% for 1 time, just for free. Then The higher your own cursed energy, when the skill is activated, the greater the damage dealt increase up to 150% at 115 cursed energy. Then, and also guys, this doesn't say additional cursed energy, it just says that the damage dealt boost can go up to this, as opposed to other skills that say additional, you know, but this was not additional damage. So this was only going up to 150 and not up to 200. Don't be confused by that. Then deals 451.2% taijutsu damage to the selected enemy, which is up from 350, so that's 100% more. Crazy. And then increases the selected enemy's damage received by 45.1%. So it doesn't do the crit rate or crit damage anymore, but it increases the damage they receive instead, which is more beneficial for your entire team versus just being beneficial for Sukuna himself. Then critical hit rate, 70% on all the hits, 50% on all the hits with skill restriction status. The critical damage is 50% on all hits. And then no black flash damage or rates or anything. Can he not black flash? That's crazy. What? A Sukuna that cannot black flash is kind of insane. I guess he didn't really start doing that later into the manga anyway, though. Alright, and then we have Sukuna's domain, Malevolent Shrine. Expands the domain, grants a short hit effect itself for 1 turn, nullifies attack nullification status for 1 turn, deals 1684.5 range Jujutsu damage to all enemies, inflicts 4 stacks of 50% continuous laceration damage for 4 turns. And the laceration damage is scaling off of Jujutsu damage. Each stack of laceration increases an additional damage of laceration by 20%. So if you keep hitting them with the skill 1, and then, wait, did we just skip over the skill 3? We did skip over the skill 3. I was so excited to look over that ultimate that let's go back, let's backtrack. Obviously his domain is his ultimate, which is obviously a crazy ultimate effect that deals, you know, we're just gonna finish it. Activate skill restriction status for 2 turns, cannot charge ultimate gauge for 3 turns, increases the maximum amount of cursed energy by 100 for 6 turns, then recovers own cursed energy by 200. So his ultimate does lock away the ability to use his ultimate for 3 turns, but it does give him a bunch of cursed energy, increases his maximum cursed energy, which is good because he has a skill that gets higher or stronger based off of how much cursed energy he has, very similar to the Red Nobara's SP buff. That's why Red Nobara's SP buff is so crazy, because she functions similarly to like Sukuna now with really big damage. But then also, skill restriction status. Some skills cannot be used, and then decreases by 1 at the start of each turn. Then everything has 10% critical hit chance, critical hit rate. Everything has a 50% critical hit damage. But let's go back and look at the skill 3 since I missed that one. Unseen Slash. Deals 240.6 range Jujutsu damage to a selected enemy, just 1 enemy. Inflicts 2 stacks of 20% continuous Jujutsu damage laceration for 3 turns. So 2 stacks in 1 turn is crazy. If your cursed energy is 40 or above, changes the skill effect to deals 480% damage. So like 2 times the damage. And then 40% Jujutsu laceration for 2 stacks of 40% continuous Jujutsu damage laceration for 3 turns. That is a mouthful. But double the laceration damage is so much better with double the actual just straight up damage that you're doing. Then if cursed energy is 90% or more, deals 1200% damage of ranged Jujutsu damage to the selected enemy, and inflicts 3 stacks of 50% continuous Jujutsu laceration damage. So guys, you are going from just naturally doing 40% continuous Jujutsu damage, and this may not be how the effects work, but I'm just adding all the Jujutsu damage together, right? 40% of Jujutsu damage over 3 turns, to 80% of Jujutsu damage over 3 turns, to 150% Jujutsu damage over 3 turns. Y'all can hear how insane that jump is every single time, because 150 is almost double 80%. Then each stack of laceration increases the damage of laceration by an additional 20%. That's actually ridiculous. If skill restriction is active, this skill cannot be used. So what skill can be used if skill restriction is active? So this one is still active. His skill 2 is still active. So his skill 2 is the only one that can be used because it's physical damage, and the rest of all of his skills are Jujutsu damage. But guys, this skill is absolutely nutty. It goes from 240% Jujutsu damage to 1200% Jujutsu damage. That's why I say it's like a second ultimate. As long as you can stack the cursed energy up, then you can get this skill all the way up to this much damage with 3 stacks of continuous Jujutsu damage. And it's like only 400% lower than what his ultimate does, and only inflicts 1 less stack for 1 less turn. So it's basically like a pseudo ultimate here, whereas these 2 skills right here literally just cost no cursed energy. That's why Sukuna is a very, very good DPS, because you are allowed to be very versatile with how you want to set him up. Maybe you want to save his domain. Cool. Use his old other ultimate. Maybe you're trying to save cursed energy. Cool. Which skill do you feel like using then? Right? Just super versatile, super chill, and honestly, it's good that Sukuna works this way. It should feel this way because Sukuna is the king of cursed energy, and he has shown time and time again that his applications of cursed energy far surpass anybody else's in the series, even if it shouldn't. But guys, let's look over at his recollection bit and talk a little bit about what that does as well. When I said, but guys, y'all thought I was about to end the video, huh? Let's see. This one's only for when you use your ultimate, and it's for only blue type attacks, but when ultimate skill is activated, increases own damage dealt by 90% for 2 turns, effective for blue type attacks. And then at the start of the 7th turn, increases own Jujutsu stat by 10% for 2 turns up to 1 time in battle. So just a really long haul type of fight. You are going to get your Jujutsu stat boosted up, which is really good because Sukuna is not the type of character to leave randomly in the middle of the fight unless he gets one tapped or some shit. And then a 90% boost to damage dealt for blue type attacks is also very good. I'm actually going to pull up, what's it called? Anyway, let's have a cola and see how that one differs. I think that page is actually the same, but this one does give Sukuna it doesn't give any taijutsu at all. Wow. That's crazy because Sukuna works off of taijutsu and jujutsu, but it's mainly jujutsu, so it makes sense. But let me pull up Anyway Let's Have a Cola. Yeah, Anyway Let's Have a Cola is exactly the same, except for you get, if your ultimate gauge is full, you get break damage instead of the 10% jujutsu damage after 7 turns. So I mean, both of their auto skills kind of have their own little like use cases, but like for the most part, this right here is literally the same, just changes colors. The cooldown is literally the same as well. But I think that Sukuna's page is actually very, very excellent, especially for him, because if you're gonna be using your ultimate, right, and your ultimate is going to be based, or if the laceration damage is going to be based off of how much your jujutsu was at the point that you used your ultimate, then use your ultimate with that page is going to spike your jujutsu, or it's going to spike your damage down, so it won't even actually boost your jujutsu damage, so never mind. But even still, making this damage a lot higher and then following it behind with all this damage is still going to be really crazy. But guys, that is the full breakdown and what you want to do, what you want to grind to make sure that you have all the materials that you need to get Sukuna maxed out immediately, and even his page if you are blessed enough to get it 5-star. And guys, like, I'm supposed to be giving you the order of how to level up the skills. Domain comes first. The second skill, I would say, comes second, just because of how powerful it is, and how you can kind of, like, if you needed to get big damage out with Sukuna, but also use his domain for a different reason, you could definitely utilize this first to get big damage out, then use his ultimate afterwards. So I would say definitely work on these two, because this one is like a pseudo domain for him, in my opinion. Then I would say the next skill you want to work on is probably the first skill, because it increases your ultimate gauge, which is going to get you to your domain way faster. So yes, I would say these 2 skills. And honestly, even if you wanted to do domain, skill 1, skill 3, skill 2, I'd be down for that. But I'm thinking that it's domain, skill 3, skill 1, skill 2. Or if you want to do skill 2 before skill 1, just because that's the only skill that you have whenever you do his domain, that also makes sense. But that my final breakdown is going to be domain, skill 3, skill 1, skill 2. But if you guys did enjoy this video, then you can go down below, you can destroy that like button, you can also comment down below, let me know what you think, and you can also subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can get notified every single time the Deadman drops a video for you. But that's going to be it for your boy DEADMANVINCE. Love you guys. Y'all have a wonderful day. I'm still kind of like somewhat tired. It's my off day, and I rolled out of bed a bit, and I just kind of walked into my computer, and I don't know that I was really 100% mentally ready to record a video, but I just hit record and forced myself to be ready. So, you guys have an excellent time. Peace out.